Well, there's a lot happening politically across our state right now, especially as the midterm elections next fall draw closer by the day. So let's check in with Capitol correspondent Tim Skubick. He's here now with the Rundown's Kiera Lake to break down what color our state could lean this election season. They also check in on new school safety reports. Take a listen.
Tim, thank you so much for joining us as always. Now, let's start with the battle over the GOP Attorney General nomination. And we know who former President Trump is endorsing.
Yeah, remember him? Donald Trump. Wow, if he comes into Michigan one more time, he's going to have to start paying the non-resident income tax. Mr. Trump is throwing his political weight around, and he's throwing it in the terms of the Attorney General's race in particular, which is getting national attention because he has endorsed a West Michigan attorney by the name of Matthew DePerno. He is running against a former state House Speaker by the name of Tom Leonard, who ran for Attorney General 4 years ago and came this close to beating Dana Nessel, but he didn't do it. He's back now again. And the polling data, which is a little suspect here this week, suggests that Mr. Leonard is in trouble. In fact, to the point where the party chairman, Ron Weiser, went to him and had what they call in the business a come to Jesus talk, in which he maybe suggested that Mr. Leonard ought to look for another race to run in, like maybe Congress over in Flint against Dan Kildee. Mr. Leonard has not said squat about this exchange that he had with the party chair, but it looks like Mr. Trump is going to get his way on this thing, and he'll get his guy in as the Attorney General candidate to take on Ms. Nessel. Now, the popular wisdom in our town is that Mr. DePerno is a little too far to the right, and he's talking about stuff that people aren't interested in, like we lost the election because it was allegedly rigged. He's kind of now changing his message a little more towards the common person. But anyway, Mr. Trump is throwing his weight around, and it's having an impact.
And also, we're learning more about the task force report on school safety. So what do you know about that?
Well, we do know that we had 4 students at Oxford High School that were killed, allegedly by a fellow student last November. And since then, the House committee has been formed to look into school safety to make some recommendations. Their number one recommendation in the preliminary report is basically to spend more money on mental health services, with the intent here to find and identify those students who could have tendencies to do something like shooting other students. And if you can nip them in the bud, if you can get them into mental health services way ahead of the curve before that dangerous stuff happens, then many lives can be saved. And so that's a number one recommendation. There are other recommendations that are kind of, if you lump them all together, they hope will provide a safer environment, such as a safety backpack with all emergency stuff in case there's a lockdown. They want more cooperation between the local police and school officials. They do not want to, however, talk about gun control. Democrats do want to talk about it. Republicans do not. And the co-chair of the committee tells me, because there's not agreement on this, the object of this committee is to work on stuff that can get done. And gun control can't get done, so they won't discuss it in the report.
All right, Tim, a lot to keep your eyes on in the future, but thank you so much for discussing that with us, and we'll see you again next week.
Okay, thank you. I'll look forward to it. Have a nice, safe weekend.